Hello everyone, back again with movie and tune recap. Today, I'm going to explain an American supernatural horror film from 2018, titled Along Came the Devil. Spoilers ahead, so watch out and take care. After their mother, Sarah Winborn, died when they were young, Ashley tried to protect her little sister Jordan from their abusive father. He often locked them in a closet and punished them harshly whenever they disturbed him. 10 years later, Jordan has grown up and moved away to Penn State, while Ashley now lives with their Aunt Tanya. One evening, while Ashley is alone in the house, a picture of Sarah shakes as a shadowy figure passes by, and as she makes coffee, she hears a noise. Sarah's picture has fallen to the floor. Meanwhile, at a church, a new parish priest, Pastor John, delivers a sermon while Reverend Michael watches. Afterward, Reverend Michael scolds Pastor John for reading one of his demonology books without permission. Later, Ashley visits the abandoned house where she and Jordan grew up, and as she explores, a shadowy figure moves behind her, and a board suddenly falls on its own. While heading upstairs, she hears someone calling her name outside, which turns out to be her old friend, Hannah. As they walk down the street together, Hannah invites Ashley to a party with other childhood friends. That evening, Tanya returns home from work and notices Sarah's fallen picture frame, and as she checks Ashley's room, she also finds a Bible lying on the floor. At the party, Ashley reconnects with her childhood friends, including Shane Stevens, who had a crush on her when they were kids. Later that night, Hannah leads a seance using an EVP app on her phone to detect spirit voices, and during the session, Ashley suddenly has terrifying visions of her dead mother, Sarah. She screams in panic, startling everyone at the party, and on her way home, Ashley experiences another vision. Her mother appears to be following her through the woods. Back at home, a supernatural force lifts Ashley's hair before attempting to drown her in the bathtub, but it turns out to be another vision. That night, Ashley goes to the kitchen for a glass of water when she notices the bathroom light turning on by itself. She switches it off and heads to her room, but the light turns back on, revealing a shadowy figure standing inside. The next day, Ashley experiences more disturbing hauntings. Her bed suddenly shakes violently, as if an unseen force is trying to throw her off. Later that day, while visiting a candy shop in town, Ashley meets Pastor John, who notices her and introduces himself. On her first day at school, Ashley experiences another disturbing haunting, and sensing that something is wrong, Hannah decides to visit her that night to figure out what's going on. That evening, while studying, Ashley hears a loud bang on the front door, and when she opens it, no one is there. The banging continues, accompanied by the eerie sound of a child's laughter coming from her room. When she goes to investigate, she finds her old box open, and as she looks at her Bible, she fails to notice a demonic figure in her room, and just then, she is interrupted by Hannah's arrival. Hoping to contact Ashley's mother, Hannah conducts another seance in front of a mirror.
You're here.
However, instead of Sarah, the girls see a demon's reflection staring back at them, and before they can react, Tanya interrupts the session. Disturbed by what they saw, Hannah warns Ashley that they've made a mistake before leaving. An argument breaks out between Tanya and Ashley, but as it escalates, Tanya realizes how much Ashley is struggling, and wanting to help, she suggests a movie night for the two of them. That night, as Ashley sleeps, Tanya has a horrifying vision. She sees flames consuming Reverend Michael. The vision then shifts to a memory of her sister Sarah, behaving strangely while pregnant, whispering about voices telling her to do terrible things. Meanwhile, in her room, Ashley notices flies gathering around the air vent. As she looks closer, she sees a demon watching her as she sleeps, but it turns out to be a nightmare. The next day, Ashley's behavior takes a disturbing turn. Instead of going to school, she skips class and goes to the lake with Shane. As they spend time together, Ashley suddenly seduces him. However, while kissing, she painfully bites Shane's tongue, making him recoil in shock, and horrified, Shane leaves her alone at the lake. Meanwhile, Hannah reads a book about possession and grows more concerned about Ashley, and she tries calling her, but Ashley doesn't answer. That night, when Ashley finally returns home, Tanya finds her in a trance, standing in her foul-smelling bedroom with her face covered in blood and panicked. Tanya rushes her to the hospital. Dr. Karas examines Ashley and determines that she only has a bloody nose, and Dr. Lyles prescribes her an antidepressant and a sedative. Meanwhile, at the church, Reverend Michael and Pastor John have a private discussion about faith. Michael hints at his true intentions, though he remains cryptic about what he wants. Later that night, Hannah goes to visit Ashley but is terrified when she sees a demonic figure staring at her from Ashley's bedroom window. Overcome with fear, she flees Tanya's house, and while riding her bike home, Hannah is struck by a car and killed. The next day during a prayer mass at church, Ashley suddenly starts contorting violently as if an unseen force is taking over her body. In front of the shocked congregation, she becomes fully possessed before collapsing to the floor. Recognizing the signs, Reverend Michael warns that the same evil that once consumed Sarah is now taking hold of her daughter, and insists that Ashley must remain on hallowed ground for her protection. However, Tanya, who is distrustful of the priest since he was unable to save Sarah, refuses to listen and insists on taking Ashley home. Reverend Michael explains to Pastor John what is happening to Ashley and gives him a crash course in exorcism. He outlines the 3 stages of demonic possession: infestation, where supernatural disturbances begin; oppression, where the victim is tormented mentally and physically; and finally, possession, where the demon takes full control. Meanwhile, Dr. Karas arrives at Tanya's house to check on Ashley, and before going to her room, he shares the devastating news of Hannah's death with Tanya. By the time Reverend Michael and Pastor John arrive, they find a horrifying scene. Dr. Karas is dead at the foot of Ashley's bed. Ashley, who is restrained, writhes as the 2 priests attempt an exorcism, trying to force the demon to reveal its name so they can drive it out. However, their efforts fail. Seeing no other choice, they sedate Ashley and transport her to the church, where they plan to perform the ritual on consecrated ground. As the exorcism intensifies, the demon stubbornly refuses to reveal its name, and suddenly, the possessed Ashley breaks free from her restraints, but she is knocked unconscious. When Ashley regains consciousness, the priests resume the ritual. But in a terrifying outburst, she snaps Reverend Michael's wrist and manages to escape into the nearby woods. Tanya goes after Ashley and finds her appearing normal again. However, as soon as the 2 priests catch up, Ashley becomes possessed once more and violently attacks Tanya. Pastor John manages to restrain Ashley and takes her back to the church, while Reverend Michael helps Tanya recover from the attack. When Reverend Michael and Tanya arrive at the church later, they are met with a horrifying sight: Ashley has brutally murdered Pastor John. The next day, a shaken Tanya calls Jordan and urges her to come home immediately, and afterward, Reverend Michael takes Tanya to a hidden basement beneath the church. Inside the dimly lit basement cell, Tanya is horrified to find several possessed people, victims of exorcisms that Reverend Michael has failed to complete. Among them is Ashley, bound in chains, her eyes filled with inhuman rage. But the true nightmare comes when Tanya sees someone she never expected, her sister, Sarah, still possessed and alive, and the movie concludes. Okay guys, that's all the recap about Along Came the Devil from 2018. Thanks for watching, see you again in the next video.